Exactly. Well, good. Here we go. Welcome to CadreTalk. I'm Todd Taranto, president of Cadre. First, a bit about CadreTalk. We developed this series as an opportunity for you to grab a cup of coffee, take a short break out of your day. We hold 100 slots for Zoom registrants and live feed the overflow on YouTube. So mark your calendar each Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, and join us for a 30-minute conversation with an industry expert on a variety of topics. Our goal is simply to give all the meeting and event professionals out there an opportunity to learn something new, even if it's just one takeaway. Before we start, please allow me to share a bit about who we are. Cadre is a very cool online event industry marketplace that connects freelancers with people looking to hire them. The platform offers a place where industry freelancers can build their profiles, much like LinkedIn, and clients can post their projects and events, and then compliantly, and that's the key word, compliantly, invite, interview, contract with, and pay freelancers to work those projects, all through a simple to use app, much like Uber. Bottom line, if you're looking to hire event staff, virtual event staff, contract planners, or any event professional for any project, Cadre is the place where you can post your project for free to find and contract great talent, all in a compliant way. If you're an event industry freelancer, a gig worker in our industry, this is the place for you to create your account for free to find contract work as our industry recovers. The only fee to make your account active is from a third-party background check provider. And Cadre is covering 50% of that cost through April. Now it's just $12.50. So don't hesitate and visit hirecadre.com after our discussion. Late last year, Cadre acquired Meeting Jobs. Now, whereas Cadre works on the gig work side of the business, Meeting Jobs provides the permanent placement services in our industry, specifically a job board, retained search, and resume pre-qualification services, specifically for the meetings and event industry. So be sure to also visit meetingjobs.com after our call. Together, Cadre and Meeting Jobs provides a full complement of event industry labor resources across the hiring spectrum, from full-time planners to project-based contract planners to on-site and virtual staff. So let's get on with it. Today, a few housekeeping notes. Everyone's muted, no one's seen. So no need to make sure that you're overly presentable from the waist up. You're encouraged to ask questions with the Q&A feature or directly in the YouTube feed. We'll try to get to as many as possible. Today, I'm pleased to introduce Betty Garrett, president of Garrett Speakers International. Betty is a true veteran of our industry. She's been a meeting planner, has a CMP, knows the staffing side of the business, was president of the Dallas-Fort Worth MPI chapter, and along the way, she also founded her own business where she focuses on providing the right speakers to have the greatest impact on your meetings. Betty, great to have you here today. How are you?
I am fine. It is showtime, ladies.
It is showtime. Let's get right to it, Betty.
Go for it.
All right, so we titled this conversation Executive Brilliance on Camera. What is that exactly?
Todd, what that means is it's a framework for giving internal speakers and the CEOs the polish and the poise they need to engage the audiences. We spend so much time and energy and money on professional speakers, but we spend very little attention on the internal speakers. And there are things that they are not aware of with these nuances with the virtual meetings. In fact, there are two things I would highly recommend that your internal speakers know. That is when they are speaking on the camera, that is called cinematically. And that means you really are on TV. You are everybody is up close and personal, and they have a front row seat. So your facial expressions, your body language, all of it magnifies on the TV.
On the TV.
The other thing is when you start a live meeting, and that's when you have an audience, that's what we call theatrically. And you've got the entire stage to walk and do whatever, and you can feed off of that energy from the audience. Not quite so when you're presenting virtually. Also, coming down the pipe very soon is going to be the hybrid meetings. And that is even going to present more challenges because now your internal speakers are going to have to visit with two audiences. One's going to be live. The other one is going to be on video. And that's going to present some challenges for the internal speakers and the CEO. And I'm telling you, it is going to be tough, but there are things that we can do to make them better and have a better engagement with their audience.
Huh. So 2 weeks ago, I was giving a presentation on Zoom to about 20 employees of a large customer of ours. And I'm usually pretty good in a room, right, where you can look at people and feed off, the energy and stuff. But in this meeting, I'm here like you, and it's different. We're having a nice conversation. I'm looking at 15 people, 20 people in a gallery, and to me, it fell flat. How do we as presenters, when you're dealing with a virtual presentation, how do you engage better with that group?
Oh, Todd, I'm so sorry to hear that you had such a challenge.
This was a couple weeks too late.
How much time do we have now?
Exactly.
No, but I am thrilled and honored that you are sharing this with me and with the audience, because now you can attest to the fact that presenting virtually is not easy, as some people think. In fact, it's energy draining. And once you get in front of that camera, your energy level decreases a minimum of 30%. Now, that said, there are things that you can do to bring your audience into your realm. And one of the things that I have found that if you make your presentation shorter, take that 60 minutes, throw it out, bring it down to 30 minutes. Shorter is sweeter.
Okay.
Now, there is a Betty-ism that I will share with everybody. And I will say it twice, because the brain can absorb only what the butt can endure.
Say it again, Betty. Say it again.
Okay. The brain can absorb only what the butt can endure. So think about that. And that's the reason why I say go shorter rather than longer, especially on a virtual meeting. Besides that, Todd, you might have thought about one of the things is call out names of those who are registered in the meeting. Hey, Jill, it's so good to see you. Oh, Kate, my God, I'm so thrilled to have you. Now, you know what this does? It brings your audience closer to you, because now they're going to sit up straighter, thinking that you might call on them. It may not be for a question, but just calling out their names and acknowledging them brings them into your realm. And now they feel like they're part of a live meeting. And the other thing is being conversational like we are, because conversational, we're not lecturing, we're not teaching, we're not preaching, but we're being conversational. We're having a conversation between two people, and conversation will be the killer app on virtual presentations.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, they may not remember what you said, what you did, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. And that is key in keeping the audience engaged. And the other things that you can do is use your voice. Go slow, go fast, whisper. Because
so you really you have to change it up. Like a baseball pitcher, not always throwing fastballs.
That's right. That's right. And when you whisper, it has a profound effect, because see, you see me coming closer to the camera, and that's what your audience is going to do. Your facial expressions are a must. I mean, you got, my God, when you're talking to your friends, do you do this?
Yeah.
No, you laugh, you grin, you show your hands, you do all of this. And by the way, showing the hands is a show of trust. And, you know, you can do a live Q&A. You can do polling. You can feed off of live audience feedback, and be sure and tell them what's next. If you watch Good Morning America or the Today Show, they will say before the next commercial, ladies and gentlemen, let me show you what's next. Here's Matthew McConaughey that's going to talk. Now, don't you think I'm going to listen and not go anywhere? So give them some things, some nuggets of what's coming up next so that they will know. And that's some of the things that you can do to keep them engaged.
So it's okay when you see that gallery of people I'm sure you have to finesse it in a certain way, but it's okay to say, Mike, you know, how do you feel about this point? Or it's as if they're in the room. It's not, if you do it the right way, it's not putting them on the spot.
No, in fact, you don't even have to ask them a question. You can say, oh, Mike, it's so good to see you. It's been so long.
Just something to build a connection.
That's right. Dawn, I'm so glad you're not too busy to be with us today. Or Tim, my God, how long has it been since we've seen one another? So
really try to break down the technology. Try to literally try to put yourself in that room. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So maybe that might have been helpful for you when you thought you might have felt flat. And maybe you really didn't. You just thought you did because your energy level.
Oh, I did. So you're a traditional speakers bureau, right? Your company. That's what you founded. That's what you do. But you also provide, you know, consulting and coaching services to kind of C-level executives. So why is coaching them important?
I found this out when I was coaching some speakers on how to get bureau ready. Okay. I realized that there was a gap, because as we spend time and money with the professional speakers and they get the momentum up and all that sort of stuff, here comes the CEO or the internal speakers, and they aren't adept in speaking on camera. So why I coach or what happens with the coaching is that I increase their confidence and their credibility, showing to the stakeholders that they really are world-class leaders and have executive presence, which is extremely critical. And when you're leading an organization, they can also by going through the framework and the coaching, they can now tell their stories and feel confident when they're trying to make a critical point. And this shows their knowledge and their wisdom and their vision. And this can be shown brilliantly to the audience. And then they're able to connect with the audience with their authenticity. Now they have shared part of their story, part of their vulnerability, if you will. And it just shows them that they are just like the rest of us. And so I learned that by creating this framework for the C-suite and the CEO, it just gives them the confidence to help engage that audience more and more. The other thing I would suggest is pre-record your internal speakers, or especially the CEO, in case there is a disruption with the internet. Mm-hmm. For God's sakes, you don't want to lose your job because, internet went down. So why not pre-recording, have it just in case something happens, so that in case it does go down, you can pop this video in, show it, and then if it's appropriate, when the internet comes back and he's at the end, maybe you can do a live Q&A where he picks up and just keeps going.
Yep. But just
The other
something
thing,
that you're prepared. You're prepared for
yes,
the contingencies.
right, because you don't want to lose your job because you forgot to pre-record it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the other thing is, if you're going to bring an outsider or a consultant, I would suggest bringing them in probably about 4 months out, or 3 months or 2 months. Mm-hmm. Just don't bring them in 24 hours before showtime, because that's an impossible task.
That's like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. You're
that's
like,
right.
Yeah,
and they're crazy. They don't know what to do.
You haven't given them time to get better if you're just bringing
yes.
them in that quickly, right?
Remember, we're polishing the diamond so that they can be better and they can engage the audience, because now they can show that they really are adept in moving the organization forward for growth. And I know, you're all sitting there thinking, Betty, that's all well and good, but what am I going to do? How do I tell my internal speakers and my CEO that they suck? They really do suck the energy right out of the room. And I've just spent, $10,000 to get the momentum up, and here comes Joe Blow.
Because they probably are very good live, right? They've been live their whole life and they're good at it, right? And they know they're good at it. So how does a planner go to that C-level person and say, you need to be shined a little bit? How do they do that?
Very diplomatically. No, what I would do if I were in that case, it is up to the meeting professional to really make this a stellar conference. The CEO may not, the internal speakers may not know that they're not up to par.
Right.
So what I would do, I would approach the CEO and the internal C-suite speakers and say something to, you really do a good job when we have a live audience, but we could really use a little bit more polishing on with you talking on the camera. So doesn't it make sense that we would bring somebody in to help polish the diamond and get you to where you have the poise and the polish in order to keep the attendance? And then stop there.
Yep.
Because the key expression is, doesn't it make sense? You've built your case. Doesn't it make sense? Stop there, because now you're playing to their psyche. And they may not be able to say no to you.
Say no to that.
So at least you've made the effort. And if they do say no, that's all you can do. Yeah. But at least it elevates you to the CEO and the suite speakers that you really know what you're doing.
So we had a question about what we're talking about, this specific, does it make sense to tape them, right? And show them how they look. Do you do that? Do you work with them and actually show them what they look like on the small screen?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to point out some things that they could do better. And here's something, I'm not trying to intimidate them, talk down to them. No, I'm one-on-one with them. I want to help them. And that's what I do, is to help you get better, polish you so that you can use your talent to the best of your ability. Okay. And there's many ways to do that, whether we do it virtually, do the video showing and that sort of thing. There's many ways we can do that. And we can talk through some things. And if he's struggling with his presentation, we can certainly spiff it up so that it engages, and maybe throw out a joke that's clean that we can use.
So we've been talking all about C-level, teaching them how to present. But a lot of these skills can be transferred into, or transferable into, just us, right? And
correct.
We present. So we got a very interesting question, especially for our industry where there's so many people trying to get back into the meetings industry. Do you have any tactical level tips when you're doing an online interview? Where it is like we're talking about here, tactical level stuff. Can you take notes while you're in an interview? Can you look down and do something? what, when you're one-on-one with somebody, what are the rules? What tactical level tips could you give?
Here's what I would suggest. I would stand up like you're doing, Todd, because when you stand up, you have more energy and you can be more engaging. Wear solid colors like navy blue, purple, jewel tones. Avoid big plaid suits and be careful with the black, because when you wear black, black is a power color, and it also may intimidate some people. So be careful if you wear black. Women, we love to wear black because it makes us look skinny. And also, if you are on camera and if you are being interviewed, ladies, watch your makeup.
Okay.
Less is better, because if you put too much makeup on, you look like clown, like JoJo the clown. So do a little bit of makeup, do the lipstick, do whatever, but be personal. Look good. Be at your best behavior. If you wear glasses, be sure you wear glare proof, and I'll show you the difference. Here are my glasses that I use when I'm working on the when I'm working on the computer, and you can see that you can't see my eyes.
Yeah, there is a glare. There's something there. Right. But
that's distracting.
Wow.
What?
That's amazing.
So be careful.
Wow. Okay. Little things like that can make a big difference. Yeah.
And use as many senses as you can, because they want to hear you, see you. Forget to touch you and all that sort of stuff, but use as many senses as you can. Be careful, Todd, on that one. If they can see you and hear you, they will retain 50% of what you're saying, 55%.
Yeah.
If you did an activity, now I don't know what kind of activity you can do on an interview, but if you were just presenting, like you were to that little small group, have an activity, because when you have an activity, that increases retention by 85%. So, and I would rehearse if I'm doing an interview, I would rehearse, and be sure if you're doing anything technically that you've rehearsed that as well.
So you touched on makeup, which I wasn't going to go near a question on makeup. You opened it up, okay?
Okay.
And we've had several questions about makeup. That's part of a larger group of questions about lighting and background and just kind of the mechanics of. I mean, I see you've got a color picture behind you.
Right.
You don't have a lot of clutter right behind you. So what are the tactical level background tips and lighting tips?
Well, do not have a window behind you, because that's too much light. I'm lucky to where I have windows in front of me, and I don't have to have the ring light for me to be
natural light coming at you.
Right.
Okay.
Some people will use bookcases back here, and that's distracting, because I want to see what you're reading.
Yeah, what do you got there? Oh, that's right. I was talking to a guy that had his collection of match covers on the back of the wall, and as I'm talking to him, I'm going like, the Bullfinch Pub in Boston, and I was really trying to figure it out.
And you wasn't listening.
No, I wasn't. I know.
And if you're working from your office, and if you are doing something on camera, take your things off the desk. Make sure that they do not appear on the camera, because that looks like clutter. Yeah. And you don't want clutter if you're doing a virtual interview or whatever.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about makeup, we can go back to makeup.
No, there's some things I stay away from. I don't really have to deal with this the glare off my dome.
Well, let's talk about glare. So if you hold your head down, it's called powder, Todd.
One of the things you said early on was the unique challenges of hybrid. So I'm going to come back to kind of the actual doing of the presenting. Can you talk a little bit more about hybrid? Because I think that is going to be part of our life going forward. So let's touch back on hybrid again. I hate to come back to that, but I think that's a key point.
That's okay. Hybrid is going to be more popular than what it's, because now we can accommodate two types of audiences. Yeah. One is you're going to have a small audience that's going to have social distancing and all of that sort of stuff. The presenter is going to have this live audience, and then over here, he's going to be talking to the camera. Now, he or she is not going to be able to walk the entire stage. The AV company is going to put him in a box. It's going to be lines or tape or whatever on the floor.
Literally a box.
Literally.
This is
right. That I can walk this far, or I can walk this far, but you cannot get outside the lines. You cannot get outside the box.
Okay.
And so that is going to be another challenge, is how do I talk to my live audience and how do I talk to my camera?
Right.
And so there in itself is going to present more challenges, not to mention it's probably going to increase your budget, because once again, you're dealing with two issues here: a live audience and a camera, the people that are video streaming. And you have to be able to, if there's questions, you have to repeat the questions and make sure everybody is accommodated. And so it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be inexpensive. So be prepared. Your budget may increase because of, and I've read and seen where some people are not doing the hybrids because of the expense involved. They're only going to do live, the theatrical. They're going to only do face-to-face. And I, to this day, can put it on my tombstone. Face-to-face meetings are not going away. They may look a little differently. We may not have the 3,500 attendees that we've had in our audience before. You may have 250 socially distanced, and you may do regional meetings instead of one large meeting. So there's some nuances that we're going to have to learn about hybrids if that's the way you decide to go. And I'm a component of both. I mean, what makes sense for the company in moving forward and being sensitive to the bottom line? Now, I'm not saying meetings on a whole have not been sensitive. They really have been sensitive to the bottom line. But I think we all thought virtual was going to be inexpensive. They're not. They take time and money and energy. And so to add another component, you're going to add time and money to the hybrid. Did that help?
It did. We have 2 minutes left.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 1 minute for this next question and 1 minute for us to wrap up, because we're going to stay for 3 minutes.
Now be careful on that next question.
It's been interesting. This is a very specific question. It's been very interesting. I'm getting comments that Todd's looking down, right?
Okay.
And I am. There are times when I look down, right? I get that.
That's okay. I'll forgive you.
But you're right on. You're locked on, right? You're the pro, and I'm not. So the question is, how do you talk to the little green light and not to the person? Like, how have you done it? Right? Because the camera's up here, but you're here, and I've got my little script, right? And I've got my notes and everything. So how have you done it? Because that's the question, and we have 1 minute.
Okay. I cheated, and I've had to learn.
Okay.
Because talking to the camera is like talking to Todd. Todd is right underneath my camera. Right. So that I get to, I want to say, and forgive me for this, and anybody that knows me understands, I will try to make love to the camera, because that's where the authenticity comes through. I'm talking to the best bud that I know. And if I'm going to be there, I'm going to try not to look down and look at Todd. I
Yeah.
need to look directly to the camera.
To the camera.
Whether I've got a green light on or not.
Betty, we knocked out a dynamite 30 minutes. We did. We are so glad you joined us today. I hope it's been helpful to everybody out there. How can people reach you if they want to talk with you about just their presentation skills or helping their C-suite executives?
Well, thank you for asking, Todd. It's been a pleasure to be here today. And if they want to reach me, anybody that wants to reach me, you can reach me. You can email me, Betty, B-E-T-T-Y, at garrettspeakers.com. Mm-hmm. Or I love telephone calls, which is 972-513-0054. And I would love to hear from you. If you have questions that we did not have time to answer today, call me. I'm here for you and to make you look good. And thanks, Todd, for having me. It has been such an honor. You
carried me today. That's
No.
Your information has been put in the chat so everyone can see it there, both the email and the phone number. We are at 1:30 exactly Central Time. Everybody have a great day. It's been a super call. Take it easy, everyone. See you next time on CadreTalk.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.